My name is Waiza Khan and I am doing LLM in International Commercial and Dispute Resolution from University of Bedfordshire. As my today's topic, I have chosen a contemporary issue which I think there is a dire need to address, which is sex and gender discrimination in employment. Sex and gender discrimination actually refers to where an individual is denied of a certain opportunity or he or she is treated less favorably or a person is subject to certain restrictions in the context of employment just on the basis of their gender. Gender discrimination is although tackled by various countries by enacting various legislations. For example, in the UK, they have enacted Equal Pay Act, but still there are various other forms of discriminations which the employers are subject to just because of their gender. Therefore, we need to address this issue and put some light on it. First of all, we need to understand the definition, what actually gender discrimination means. In order to understand, we need to separate the words and then understand their meaning. For example, first of all, we will see what actually gender means. Gender actually means, as per the World Health Organization, it refers to the socially constructed characteristics of women and men, such as norms, roles, and relationships of and between groups of women and men. It varies from society to society and can be changed. And gender discrimination is defined in Article 1 of the United Nations Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women 1979 as any distinction, exclusion, or restriction made on the basis of sex which has the effect or purpose of impairing, nullifying the recognition, enjoyment, or exercise by women, irrespective of their marital status, on the basis of equality of men and women, of human rights and fundamental freedoms in the political, economic, social, cultural, civil, or any other field. In order to analyze this definition, we need to understand what actually workplace means. As per the Cambridge Dictionary, workplace is defined as a building or a room where people perform their jobs or these places generally. So, gender discrimination at workplace actually means that where a person is discriminated or he is exclusively denied of a certain opportunity at workplace, at the place where he actually performs his job by his employer or by his colleagues. So gender discrimination is an issue which is quite common nowadays. Therefore, we need to understand what the legal issue is behind this concept. The legal issue is that it is unlawful to discriminate against an employee because of the individual's gender. However, every now and then we come across reports related to gender discrimination. As it is reported by SME Loans in their 2021 survey that almost 29% of men are overlooked for promotion because of their gender, and similarly 26% of women are subject to the same context, and 23% of men's work has not been taken seriously. Similarly, 20% of women's work has not been taken seriously because of their gender, and 26% of men have been unfairly dismissed because of their gender, and 20% of women have been unfairly dismissed because of their gender. Similarly, 26% of men have not gotten a job just because of their gender, and 21% of women have not gotten a job because of their gender. This indicates how prevalent this issue is and how common it is. Therefore, we need to address it. We need to analyze its adverse impacts on all over the world, and then we need to give certain recommendations in order to tackle it. First of all, in order to analyze this issue, we need to discuss the comparative legal system. The comparative legal system of the three countries will be discussed in this presentation, which are United Kingdom, Pakistan, and international law context. In the United Kingdom, there are various legislation which have been enacted in order to address this issue. For example, Equality Act 2010, Discrimination Act 1975, Sexual Discrimination and Employment Protection Remedies Regulations 1993, Sex Discrimination, Indirect Discrimination and Burden of Proof Regulation 2001, and in Pakistan, it's the Constitution of Pakistan 1973 and the Protection Against Harassment of Women at the Workplace Amendment Bill 2022. Now we'll be coming upon the international context. International context, there are various legislations too which actually deal with this issue. For example, Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948, ILO Discrimination, Employment and Occupation Convention 1948, Conventions on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women 1979, EHRC Employment Statutory Code of Practice. So these are all the laws which have been enacted in UK, in Pakistan, and some of the legislations are in the international context which address this issue, which actually prohibit the unlawful discrimination on the basis of gender, especially in the context of employment. As per the recent statistics, it has been found that this issue is quite prevalent. As per the SME Loan Survey 2021, it has been reported that 8.2 million employees in the UK feel they have been discriminated against on the grounds of their gender. Similarly, Pakistan has been ranked 151st out of 153 countries listed on the 2020 Global Gender Gap Index, and this is among the bottom 10 in 3 of the 4 main categories, and one of the main categories is employment, which indicates that Pakistan is one of the countries where gender gap is quite wide, and especially in the employment sector. So all the genders are not given equal recognition in the employment sector, which actually means that they are denied of certain opportunities, that they are not given equal recognition, and they are subject to certain restrictions. They are treated distinctively as to the all other genders, which means they are treated unfavorably. Therefore, it has to be catered, especially in Pakistan. It has adverse impacts all over the world. For example, it leads to less opportunities and unproportional growth. It not only leads to disproportional growth of the individuals, but it also affects on the productivity of the organizations. It leads to adversely affects the economy, and it increases exploitation since the opportunities are quite less, so people make exploitative options and offers for the employees, which they have to accept in order to live and survive, which not only leads to their exploitation but also affects their mental health. A person is denied a job or has not given promotion despite being hardworking and despite being competent, that will of course affect their mental health. Therefore, there are certain recommendations which we need to implement in order to battle this issue. For example, we need to invest more on gender equality initiatives. We need to promote awareness of equal participation and development of all genders. We need to ensure equal acquisition of education. For example, in Pakistan, specifically in the remote areas, women are not given equal acquisition of education. They don't have awareness, they don't have equal participation in development, they don't get recognition in political, economic and other sectors. Therefore, we need to give awareness to those women, to those areas, in order to introduce equal opportunities for all. As our great leader Muhammad Ali Jinnah said, that no struggle can ever succeed without women standing side by side with men. We need to ensure representation of all genders in legislation in order to create a gender-neutral work environment. Not only this, but we also need to enhance the implementation of the laws and ensure speedy response to the relevant reports. Since the reporting system is quite slow, especially in Pakistan, and the response is also quite slow, we need to ensure that these reports are speedily responded and are resolved and justice is served in order to build confidence of the society in justice system and in order to increase the reporting system. Therefore, we can tackle this issue on a large scale. In order to conclude, I will just refer to certain case laws which clearly indicate that gender discrimination is prohibited not only in UK but also in Pakistan in many other countries too. There are certain case laws which clearly states that, for example, Strathclyde Regional Council versus Porcedy, Western Excavation Limited versus Darby, Asif Salim versus Chairman BOG University of Lahore, and lastly, Sharlameen Murli Gurjar's case. These all cases are relevant in the context that they clearly indicate that sex or gender discrimination are clearly prohibited. One should be given equal opportunities in order to pursue their profession. In order to conclude, one needs to consider that various different genders can have similar professional objectives despite being of any gender. A person should be given equal independence and freedom in order to choose their profession. One should not be subject to any restriction or any discrimination on the basis of their gender or on the basis of their sex. The standards is to perceive, in order to, the best way to make change in the ongoing gender discrimination standards is to perceive these unequal practices and attempt to, as best as could be possible, to battle these norms by way of implementing certain recommendations as discussed in the previous slides. Implementation on those recommendations is very important in order to battle this issue. Not only this, but the government must chalk out effective strategies to bridge the widening gender gap and inequalities through social, economic, education, and democratic participation and partnership of women into the all fields and ensure equal gender participation.